lately because of this one, but we were just doing it mostly on Facebook as a Facebook Live, but now that we're broadcasting to 7 different destinations, you know, it's my personal book and Twitter and YouTube, and then Homegirl Talks, Facebook, Twitter, which is Periscope, YouTube, and then YouNow. We're not doing Twitch anymore because it's like a gaming thing. I don't know if you know Twitch, but it's a bunch of little kids. It's all gaming, and they're definitely not our demo. So YouNow is much more conversation driven.
So with Skype, you can integrate all of these social media outlets
through Switchboard. So that's a software that you pay a monthly fee for, and then you can do that. But yeah, through Skype, because we were using another thing, and that was awful. I was not being able to connect with people. I had to cancel so many shows. So are we on? Hey, we are live! Yay! We get all excited. It is a very exciting time. So hold on. I'm trying to do a million things at once.
We're going to record the situation.
We are recording this situation, and we are live. Welcome to Homegirl Talk.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
But quick little housekeeping reminder, if you want to see comments and interact with us right now live, you got to watch us on homegirltalk.com.
Because you might be on Facebook right now, you might be on Periscope, you might be on YouNow, you might be on YouTube, and that's wonderful. But we really want you on homegirltalk.com because that's where we can actually see your comments and give you some feedback. You give us some feedback, ask the questions that you want. We can engage, honey. So yes, homegirltalk.com. So for those of you who have been watching, I've been flying solo a lot lately, but now I have my homegirl Marcy in La Casa. And tonight we are very excited because this week's Homegirl Talk is with the one and only Naibe Reynoso.
Roll that R.
Reynoso. Let's get homegirl over here. Hey, girl.
Hey. You look good.
Looking
Should this
sweet.
be a fashion segment instead? I mean,
Sure.
coqueta.
I put makeup on at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's been the same makeup because I had to, as I mentioned, I anchor for LA County, and I've had the same makeup on ever since this 7 o'clock.
Girl, don't tell your secrets. Nobody would ever know, especially in this heat. By the way, that's why I'm wearing this tropical print, because we are in some serious Miami heat right now.
Yeah, and that's why I'm wearing blazing orange, like the blazing sun. Go away already.
Seriously, pray for the fires to end because California's on fire right now, and it's just muy en fuego. We are muy triste about the situation, but we are very happy to have Naibe. So, Naibe is an Emmy award-winning journalist. Girl, you've been doing this for 2 decades, and you also co-host a show called The Trend Talk Show with
Belle Hernandez, the one and only, of course.
And then you are really excited about this new thing you have created. It's called LATINAFest. We are all Latinas. Newsflash. So we want to talk a little bit about that. Like, my question is, and I think Marcy's is like, Latinas, are we really still invisible in 2018? Do we really need a Latina Fest? Do we really need to like say, hey, we're here, look at us? Is it that kind of situation? Tell us a little bit about why you thought it was important and now is the time to create something like Latina Fest and what it actually means. Like, why would anybody care?
Oh my God, it's I definitely still feel that we are invisible in the sense that I think the mainstream doesn't appreciate, or I think they take for granted our power as a community. We are such a huge consumer group. I mean, there's 27.9 million Latinas in the United States.
How many? 27.9 of us?
27.9, so pretty much 28
million.
Yeah. 28 million Latinas in the United States. And
Girl.
I feel like as a community block, we're not really seen as that powerful. And for example, you know, the African American community is well respected in a lot of in Hollywood and in consumer consumer agencies respect that buying power. But I feel like the Latina consumer buying block, for some reason, it hasn't been as respected, and not only in the consumer buying block, but also in Hollywood.
We're not represented as much. Like, of course, we know the Latina celebrities, right? We know Salma Hayek, we know Eva Longoria, we know J Lo. Who else do we have?
I mean, there's any scores of them out there, but
you're talking about just like, I mean, that's part of it, right? Is beyond Hollywood. I mean, you've been a reporter, you've been in the media for 20 years on a national scale and on a local level. And so you're still seeing this, like we're still not represented considering our numbers. We're almost 28 million in the country.
So disproportionate.
Hold on for a second.
I mean, don't laugh at this, but I still feel like when people think Latina, they think Chiquita Banana. Like, right. When you're a Latina, like, you feel like, oh, you're a Chiquita Banana. Like, I kind of feel like we haven't, the mainstream audience, the mainstream powers that be have not stepped up to respect us as a community, as the intelligent, hustling, entrepreneur, consumer power that we are. And that's
it's still a stereotype. We're still a stereotype.
I honestly feel like we are still a stereotype. And even to this day, I see jokes about us, people mocking us when we pronounce our names by, the Spanish pronunciation.
Oh, like the Reynoso girl.
Like we did at the top of the hour.
Let's get ready to Reynoso.
Exactly. And
I feel you on that one. I do hear that. I do see that too. I've personally experienced that. Not that Mar Yvette that you roll. Of course, that's a truncated version of my name, but I understand what you're saying.
Right. And then as a journalist, as a TV host, I don't really see us being as a Latina representation in the mainstream media on the network level, on the, on the local level. There's right. A little more balance, but on the network level, I don't see it. On the television level, as far as like representation in television, I don't see it. In movies, I don't see it. And it frustrates me because I feel like a lot of times we are painted, Latinas are painted with the same brush of like, we're victims, we're like the wailing mother, we're like the immigrant mother. And we're a lot more, yes, we are that, of course, but we're a lot more than that. We're entrepreneurs, we're professional women, we're intelligent, we're, like I said, we're hustlers, we're consumers, we're decision makers in our household, which counts for a lot.
Every day. Yeah. So this makes me want to ask the question. So that all said, Naibe, so pick a show or pick a movie, pick a Latina character or Latino character. What are the kinds of roles we should be seeing more of?
I think what you're saying is like the professionals, like Marcy's in PR.
In front of the camera, but behind the scenes. So, for example, our homegirl Justina Machado. What's the
Shout
one?
Out to Justina.
Right.
What's up, girl? I'm waiting for that Q&A, girl.
One Day at a Time. They
Yes.
reimagine the show.
Yes.
Or
well, there's Vida on Showtime, which is
right.
more millennial oriented. We're all Gen X here.
So if we're going to compartmentalize and say, okay, types of roles in front of the camera, film, television, what more do we need to be seeing?
I would like to see I feel, okay, there's millions of us that are second generation Latina American women that, we are proud of our heritage of whether you're Mexican, Salvadorian, or Honduran, whatever it is, you're proud of that. But you're also very, very, very American. You listened to Madonna when you were growing up, and
yes,
forever.
The Backstreet Boys.
Not Spanish dominant in the house at all.
And I watched The Love Boat when I was growing up. But then when as you see what people perceive you as a stereotype, and it's like, wait a minute, I grew up watching The Love Boat and listening to the Backstreet Boys and Madonna and this and that. So why am I all of a sudden the sex pot?
The sex pot,
The sex pot.
I love everything that you're saying, Naibe. For me, growing up, you know, of course, not seeing ourselves represented in entertainment, right? But for me, what sort of switched it a bit was that part in Selena when Selena's when J-Lo playing Selena, of course, wants to cross over and do this tour, and Edward James Olmos says, you know, mijita, you're not ready yet, because in Mexico you have to be more Mexican than the Mexicans, and in America you have to be more American than the Americans. And then he was saying examples like, for example, you have to, in Mexico you have to know about Cristina and tacos and football, and in America you have to know about cherry pie, baseball, and Oprah. And I remember being in the theater thinking, oh my gosh, like he just synopsized my life.
Your existence,
Right.
the bicultural experience.
Yes, because I mean, yes, my parents, you know, watched Sábado Gigante when it was on, but I was going to school listening to K-Rock, and then I was driving home listening to my Selena CD, but then I'm representing a, you know, general market corporate American brand for work, and then I'm going home having sushi, not tacos, for dinner. So just, you know what I mean? Very...
But that's the American experience, but you still have those ties. And even more for me, as a third generation where we did not speak Spanish in the house, and but I'm still very much, I'm very proud of my Latinaness. But it is always that question of, right, well, Mar's really not that Mexican enough because, you know, she doesn't eat menudo, or she, you know, her mom was born in California, or whatever it might be. So it's all, Marcy is watching us on her iPhone, girl. Please stop being a distracted. Oh, by the way, please join us on homegirltalk.com. We want to make sure that we are driving you to that site, because that is where we can monitor our chat. So our special guest tonight, obviously, is Naibe Reynoso. She is an Emmy Award-winning journalist. By the way, I think I just completely interrupted our flow here for a second. But Naibe, you have to tell us. So, you know, being somebody who's been doing this for so long, back in 2003, you were a co-host candidate for The View with the OG Barbara Walters. What was that like? Because that's not something that most of us will have ever experienced.
It was crazy, amazing, weird.
How did you even get that opportunity? Tell us, like, what was that? Fabulous. Give me the cheese, man.
Okay, you'll never believe how that happened. Basically, I was at the time I was in Denver, Colorado, as a reporter, fill-in anchor. And then all of a sudden, Lisa Ling announced that she was going to be leaving. And then they said, okay, there's open auditions. Send your tape and let us know why you would be a perfect replacement. You won't believe this, but I was actually 8 months pregnant.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Good luck.
I was 8 months pregnant with my daughter. And I was like, screw it, I'm going to film myself. And I was pregnant. So I clearly remember taping myself in that audition tape saying, Barbara Walters happened to be born on September 25th, which is my birthday as well. So I said, you know, hi, Barbara, we share, you know, a birthday. And then Star Jones was on the panel, Joy Behar.
God, Star Jones, girl, up.
Meredith Vieira, and I was like, and then I revealed my tummy, and I'm like, I'm ready for you guys to babysit, you know, something along those lines.
Please tell me you gave as a middle name to your baby girl, Barbara.
No.
Wawa. Barbara Wawa.
Yeah, Barbara Wawa.
But my daughter's name and Barbara's daughter's name is the same, Jacqueline. So we had that in common.
OMG.
So basically, you know, somehow they filtered my tape through the audition process, and they called me and they're like, let's do a live audition. So I co-hosted 2 days in a row with them. And I remember the first day that I met Barbara Walters, it was crazy because obviously Barbara Walters, we see her as this refined journalist, right? This like creme of New York, you know, like the old school journalist. And I was a news reporter in Colorado at the time, and I don't know if you guys remember, but at the time, I believe it was Kobe Bryant who went to Colorado and was accused of.
Oh, was this the time? Girl, we're not even going to get into that because I am not a fan. I do not approve. Let's just say that.
But I'm going somewhere with this. I believe Kobe Bryant was accused of like taking advantage of a woman in Colorado, doggy style.
Yes, okay? yes, the doggy style drums. Yes.
You guys just said doggy style. Okay.
Girl, so that's not. We're keeping it real. We're keeping it real. Okay. So yeah. How soon we forget about people's pasts.
So my first interaction with Barbara Walters, it was like I was in the makeup room getting ready to go on the show, and she was like, "Okay, you're from Colorado. I understand that Kobe Bryant is accused of doggy style. But what is that? Can you demonstrate what that is?"
No, she didn't.
I swear to God. And she made me get up out of my chair.
You're doing the mannerisms like her, too. Like, you just reminded me of her, watching her on The View.
She made me get up out of my chair and demonstrate what doggy style was.
Oh, my gosh.
That was my first interaction with Barbara Walters.
Oh, my gosh. It totally shattered your image of this, like, refined, classic, venerable, you know, like, old school reporter. That's so hysterical.
Correct. Yes, but I loved it because I don't know if she did it on purpose to break the ice or make me feel comfortable. And it was totally cool. It was, like, fun and
brilliant if she meant it like that, right? Brilliant if she,
I mean, she played Innocenta and she would just.
So here I am, like in the freaking makeup room of ABC's The View, showing Barbara Walters what doggy style means.
That is hysterical. That is a story to remember. Oh my God, I love that we have that story now. How was Star Jones?
She was really nice too. Really, really nice. And I thought she was going to be the mean one of the. I just because she's fierce on the panel at that time. You know, obviously she hasn't been on the air for a long time, but she was very fierce and feisty because she was the lawyer that always.
That's what they.
And I was.
Was this pre-gastric?
Yes, it was.
Oh, okay. It was pre-gastric.
Her deal with Payless.
Oh, pre-gastric star. And was Joy Behar on it too?
Yes, and she was really nice. They were all super.
I like her too.
Joy was,
Joy's always like she's opinionated, but she's very smart and she can back it up.
That's who she is. Yeah. And so you kind of take it. Yeah.
It's true. Mar, I mean, you've been in the business for a long time on camera. I don't know if your experience has been the same, but my experience has been like the legends, are always a lot nicer and simpler than like the B-listers.
And then the up-and-comers who have huge egos and think they're all that. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
But
Get
do you
away.
Think they're doing that to get a name and to stand out from the group.
Who, the young ones?
No, the ones that are coming up.
Of course. They turn into a-holes because they think that, they're getting a little, action or whatever or some recognition and it gets to their heads. I mean, egos are huge.
Right. I mean, I think to them, it's also something new, especially like reality stars that haven't, in my opinion, really earned
a lot of them are bad
into the business. So they kind of feel like, oh, it's cutthroat and you have to be mean and you have to be an a-hole. But then when I've covered so many red carpets and the night, like Tom Cruise stopped to talk to every single reporter, like John Travolta, Brad Pitt. It's like the biggest stars are always the nicest. So the same goes for all that.
I actually have found that to be true too. They're the most gracious. Like Dick Van Dyke, he's one of the nicest people I've ever met. I mean, he's a legend, So, yeah, I find that to be true.
I'm sweating.
She said we are sweating like puerquitos.
You guys are mad, and I'm over here like.
She said, "Dab it." What did I do? So LatinaFest, okay, because we're getting off track. Although, no, but we're talking about your experience. Homegirltalk.com, thank you for joining us. We are having a blast.
I feel like we can't get into the conversation about August 25th LatinaFest without asking about Trend Talk Show. Yes. What is it? Where can people watch it? How did you and Belle Hernandez kick this whole thing off? How long has it been on? All that fun stuff.
So the Trend Talk has been on the air, or it's been in existence for about almost 2 years, and we were trying to find a name that was kind of inclusive, that wouldn't turn off, so to speak, like the mainstream media. But we wanted to use it to give a platform to Latinos that normally aren't covered, don't get interviewed, nobody cares in mainstream media or other platforms. So our show first, and it's self-funded. Like we don't have
Very cool.
her and I raise money. We get sponsors. Her and I, it's a self-funded show. So it first started airing in like a station in the Inland Empire, and then now it's been airing since this year, since like January of this year on Me TV Network. Which
oh my gosh, I love Me TV. They play all the old school stuff like Love Boat,
Nostalgic.
I think Brady Bunch sometimes. Yeah, all the cool Mama's Family. Shout out to Mama's Family. Remember that show?
Love that stuff.
Yeah.
So it airs on Me TV on Sundays at 7 a.m. I mean, but hey, it's a start. Like we already have about 25 shows in the can that, like I said, her and I have self-funded. Although we haven't really put any money out of our pocket, we've found sponsors for each show, integrated. You know, we find ways to raise money, and that's how LatinaFest was born. Because Belle and I were trying to figure out how do we keep this show afloat. How can we raise funds, and that's how LatinaFest was created, in order to raise funds.
Oh, clever. So what LatinaFest is because the trend talk show that you have, it's men and women, it's everybody. But for LatinaFest, obviously, it's in the name, it's a celebration of us brown women and all our beautiful shades. And it's like health, mind, body, it's mind, body, and soul, right? So you're trying to address the whole person, not just like, oh, we want new lipstick.
Well, I wanted
There's
to
nothing wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I think I addressed this with you earlier, that I feel like we're always in the fight or flight mode of like, come on, you know, give us this is what we want, and this is what we deserve, and this is what we should have, or in the flight mode of like just running away and hiding from like kind of giving up. So this LatinaFest it is a celebration of not focusing on anything negative, but kind of focusing on our strengths as women, as entrepreneurs, on our intelligence, on strength in numbers, strength, our cohesiveness, and focusing on our mind, body, and soul. Meaning we have like a lot of vendors. We have this zone of vendors called the Zen Zone that we specifically
cool.
Yes, this area that we're going to have therapists, like family therapists that bought a booth and they want to educate the community about therapy. We have alternative forms of therapy like Reiki, crystal healing, curandera
stuff,
therapy, all of this. We have the yoga session in the morning, and the mind, body, and soul. I mean, a little seed of it is like, for example, I see my mother as a Latina Mexican mom. She's like the stereotypical Latina Mexican mom that's always doing things for others, not thinking of herself. And the same thing with my sister, and she's second generation. So that kind of culture kind of seeped into her, even though she's Americanized, where she does the same with her. You know, she just focuses on her husband, her kids. And I literally feel like I want to be the boyfriend or that man that none of you Latina women sometimes have, that treats you like a princess, like a queen. I kind of feel like sometimes we skip that part of embracing our own queendomshood. I don't know how to call it.
Queen, yes.
Because everyone else comes before we do.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's our way.
We talk about that every day when we talk about our moms and our sisters and our families and ourselves even. We literally talk every day. So we know exactly what you're talking about, and this is great. And if I remember correctly, Naibe, it's all Latino business owners and participants that are going to be making up Trend Talk. LatinaFest. Yeah.
Right. And everyone's welcome. It's kind of funny because we've gotten a few messages of people saying, my husband's a gringo. Is he invited? Or like, I'm a gringo. Am I invited? I'm like, of course. My husband's a gringo, and he's going to be there.
Mine too, kind of. He's Armenian. I don't know if that really counts.
Well, we have. We'll be posting up on homegirltalk.com. We have a sizzle video of LatinaFest, so look for it in the next day or so on Homegirl Talk. But Naibe, tell everyone else as well where can they go on Trend Talk, or how can they learn more about LatinaFest if they want to register to check it out? Again, it's August 25th. And
yeah,
it's
how much are tickets?
all day. Yeah, all the fun stuff.
Free. Tickets are free. Wait,
Oh, it's free.
okay.
We love free.
It's free.
Oh, that's my favorite price.
Gratis.
We do have a cocktail garden.
Oh, girl, that's got her name written all over it. Marcy's there. She's like, free and a cocktail garden. Consider her there.
Awesome. Well, we have the cocktail garden. Is $20, but you get 3 drinks of your choice for free. But
Girl, that's a steal in LA. Yeah.
Yeah, the entire event is free, except, like I said, if you want to go into the cocktail garden, then
well, yeah, of course, you wouldn't expect to get that stuff for free,
Right.
because we have to pay for security and barricades.
And there's going to be food.
Yeah. There's going to be food. There's going to be 2 food vendors. One of them is called Chicas Tacos, and the other one is called Café de Brisa. And we're also going to have a Frijolitos mobile coffee, which has like any kind of coffee you can imagine, ice cold, hot, cappuccino. You know, it's going to be a little hot, so I'm sure most of the sales are going to be cold coffee, brew or coffee. But we're going to have so many vendors with all kinds of different types of products. So we're going to have clothes, stickers, mugs, hair products, makeup, anything like treats. And then if you have kids, we're going to have a kids corner with activities for the kids. So, and we're also going to be interviewing people on stage. We're going to have so far, we're still kind of in the process of confirming a few people, but the people that we have 100% confirmed as of now is Cici Valenzuela from Power 106.
We love Cici.
Marcy is a huge fan. So, Naibe, when this is all over, you know, and people, you know, maybe watching this after LatinaFest is already over, what are you hoping once that event is done? What are you hoping to have achieved? What do you want that to have, you know, to accomplish moving forward?
Okay, so as they say, a moment does not a movement make. But I really want us Latinas to embrace the things we do have to fight for. And like, you know, when we have to go into the fight mode, I'm there. I'm marching and I'm yelling and I'm petitioning. But I think we also have to embrace the other part of who we are as a community and embrace our power as consumers. That block, that is so important. Because that's when the big corporations
pay attention.
That's where we
pay
get hurt.
Yeah, it's all about the money.
Get spent, that's where
it's all about the feria.
Right. But I want the paradigm of who Latinas are to shift a little bit. And as I mentioned, opposed to like seeing ourselves as people that are constantly fighting for the basics, I want us to look at ourselves as like a community that's rising and growing and becoming a powerhouse. Just like
a community that's excelling. Right. A community of excellence. We're not always the victimized migrant farm worker, which we need to continue to fight for them because, you know, people complain about brown people taking their jobs. I'm sorry, your ass isn't going to be out in the field picking your fruit. I guarantee you, you don't want those jobs. Or, you know, the chambermaids in the hotels and stuff. So we are there, but there are others of us, I think we're, you know, examples of that. Not that we're billionairesses, you know, and that doesn't just define success either. It's just, you know, being a billionaire. But like you're saying, we are succeeding in different fields. We're just not seeing that. So it's great that you're doing that on the Trend Talk Show too, which is to say, hey, maybe here's a set designer from your favorite Hollywood movie or TV show that you would have never known about. Right. And you know, there might be a kid in college right now or in high school thinking, do I want to get into that field? Is there anybody else who like looks like me or knows what my experience is that, you know, I grew up in Pacoima. Can I really do this? You know, without connections. So it just all takes time, right? That's kind of the bottom line with anything worth having and achieving is it always takes time.
Right. It's funny that you mentioned the set designer because we've actually interviewed a set designer on the Trend Talk that set design for different shows.
Great minds, girl.
You know, it all goes back to storytelling and sharing with others so that, you know, obviously we're Latinas and we think we know everything there is to being a Latina, but we're learning every day.
We don't know everything?
No, well, maybe you do. But so a fun fact is, I'm sure you know and love our homegirl Kiki Melendez.
Oh my God!
Yes,
Kiki.
Kiki.
We need a homegirl talk with her.
She's been a co-host
but
on our
Kiki,
show.
we found out through Kiki a couple years ago. We had visited her at. This is when she was at 96.3.
Yeah, I was on the air with her doing an Oscar special.
Right.
Yeah.
So we found out through Kiki that the actual Oscar statuette was modeled after a Latino,
a Mexican actor.
yeah, a Mexican.
I already forgot his name, but yeah, that's the body mold of a Mexican actor.
That is so cool. Like who knew that? And of all the years that we sit here,
we have to search for that information.
Yes.
It's just not readily available.
Right.
So, you know, this kind of thing that we're doing on a very small scale, I think it all contributes. It's, you know, a little pebble in the ocean, and it creates a little ripple effect. So, we're Latinas celebrating and supporting Latinas. Just the fact that we're all here talking.
Yeah.
We are a sophisticated audience. We're not just peasants, and you know, I mean, I'm not ashamed of. We're everything, and I'm proud of everything that we are. And my parents are very humble. They came from Mexico with nothing. My dad was a gardener. My mom, like the typical, my mom was a seamstress. Mm-hmm. You know, fortunately, I got a great education. I graduated from UCLA with honors. So that's what I'm saying. Our family is an example of, yes, we are the peasants, and that's fine, because we came to fight for a better life. And their daughter, me, you know, was able to get a college education. So now I'm a college graduated woman. And so what I'm saying is, like, I want to change the perception of who the Latinos are. We are a sophisticated consumer group. And I really feel like we have not gotten that, you know, we haven't gotten that, like, no, they don't see us. I feel like a lot of the big media companies, a lot of the big, you know, I don't want to.
We haven't been mainstreamized yet. We haven't been mainstreamed.
Not as much as we think we have been.
You know,
right?
And you're talking on a larger scale too, because maybe the average person is like, "What the hell is she talking about?" But because you're in the media, you understand. You know, like the big brands, you know, they need to. I mean, I think just because of our numbers, you know, we're like you were saying, we're like almost 28 million Latinas. We're way more than that when you count, you know, the men. So, and we're only growing.
What brands or products, goods, or services, Naibe, do you think are doing it right when it comes to targeting us, talking to us, relating to us?
I've seen at the local level, I've seen Target specifically, you know, Target. I've seen them include Latinos in their campaigns a lot, which I'm really proud of.
We're all customers.
Yes, we are. I've seen them. I think they've done a great job, but I feel like the more highbrow, like Gucci or like, you know,
like the Bloomingdale's and the Neiman Marcus's and the Nordstroms. Yeah,
you know,
we're buying all those things.
We're going to Nordstrom. We're going to, you know, Zara. Like yeah, exactly. You're right. You're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, so much. We could go on and on and on.
We could just invite you over right now with a little café con leche. Well, it's too hot for that. Maybe a little.
Marcy wants a vodka tonic.
There's just one last thing I want to say. Yeah. I went to UCLA. I graduated in sociology with a minor in psychology. And I feel that as a community, our self-esteem as a community is low. I'm not saying individually. We all are different, and all of our self-esteems are at different levels. But I kind of feel like we've been bashed on so much, and we've been categorized in as second-class citizens, and there's been so many microaggressions on all kinds of different levels that sometimes I feel like us as a community, we feel like we need to ask for permission to bloom or walk into our power. And I want to tear that away, and I want us to know and feel how kick-ass women we are, how badass women we are, how smart we are, and how we have the right, as much as any other community has, to be powerful women and not feel like they picked us because we're Latina. They picked us because they needed to fulfill that quota. That's kind of another little like thing that I want to throw out there into the universe. It's like, no, you're not picking me because I'm Latina. You are like, you hired me because I'm kick-ass and I'm smart and I need to, you know, I deserve to be here. I should be here. And I'm talking on all levels, not just media, every single level. And, you know, I'm really hoping that our self-esteem as a community as a whole gets, improves, because I feel like it has been damaged by attacks by, you know, the government or, you know, the current administration.
Oh, girl, it's like, it's not even, I can't even go there. But yeah, you're talking about the invisibility. That was a really great pull quote, by the way. We're going to have to share that on Homegirl Talk on our Instagram and Twitter. That was a really great
Basically,
quote.
Naibe is saying, take the seat at the table. You're there because you're you and not anything else.
And because you deserve to be, and you earned it, and you don't have to feel like we're not asking for a free meal. We're saying we earned this. We bought our way in. We bought the ticket. We have the plate.
But once you're there, once you have earned the slot, recognize that there's a responsibility when you get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Naibe, thank you so much.
Girl. Did you have fun? I hope you had fun.
Yes, I did. I hope you know, I hope I made sense. Sometimes I start getting into this diatribe.
No. It made sense. It made sense.
It made sense. Yeah.
And it's from the heart. We could tell.
Yes, it is from the heart, and everything that I do is from the heart. You know, from everything from the Trend Talk to LatinaFest, it's like, I don't have anything to lose. I'm in my 40s. I'm like, everything I do is because it means something to me, and it's coming from the heart. So
there you go. What else could you ask for?
Well, we wish you luck with everything else, especially with LatinaFest on August 25th. Go to homegirltalk.com for more information. And Naibe, I hope to see you very soon, especially at the LatinaFest. I need to get there. And now that I have the opportunity.
At the Cocktail Garden.
Thank you for all these times when I was pitching you coverage for Banda Machos and saying, hey, girl, can you mention my client Tecate? So thank you.
Of course. Yes. You were one of my favorite people. Definitely.
Aww, she's one of my favorite people, too. I'll give her a hug for you until you see her. All right, Naibe. All right, girlfriend. You have a good night. Thank you for chatting, and then we will see you soon.
Ciao. Okay. Good night.
Girl.
I love her.
I know. She's the best. Bye, Naibe.
Bye.
Okay.